black franchisee was earning about $40,000 a year. See that? And the rest went to McDonald's corporate headquarters, right? So give me Deuteronomy 28 and 33, right? The Bible talks about this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
That's right. And to this day here in Babylon, the whore, we continue to be oppressed and crushed, right? All your hopes and dreams crushed. You got a business idea, you can't get it off the ground because it's crushed, right? But if you're a heathen, you can come over here and they'll back you up, they'll support you, give you a low interest loan and, you know, all that good old stuff. But they say, oh, we all blacks, y'all Negroes, y'all just need to pull up yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, guess what? We did that multiple times. Guess what? Y'all don't like to see that. So that's when you start to intervene and mess up what we got going on, right? We just want to be left alone so we can serve our God, just like in Egypt, see? Because, you know, as everybody knows, this is the modern day Egypt, Sodom and Egypt, all right? So, all right, yeah, let's get that. Let's go Psalm 83 and 3.
The book of Psalm chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden.
That's right. So when they start deciding together as a council, right, that, oh, you know what? When these black business owners come back after the riots to try to reopen their, or get a loan to reopen their businesses, we're gonna raise the interest rates because now it's considered to be high risk. Their area is high risk now, right? And that had a major effect, right? So let's find out, you know, why is this happening to the Israelites, okay? Why is this? Let's get Amos 3, 1 and 2.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, and against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
That's right. Because the Most High only knows the Israelites, the children of Israel, and that's why we catch hell when we sin. When we are not adhering to the law, statutes, and commandments, not having the faith in Yahweh Shai, we are the ones that's suffering, right? When has the so-called white man paid for his atrocities on earth? Soon to come, right? But it hasn't happened yet, right? Because he's not the children of Israel, all right? So let's see another way we've been punished by the Most High using Esau Edom, all right? So I got a couple articles, couple excerpts from some articles that we're gonna bring out. You know, we ain't really got to get too deep in this because, you know, everybody's familiar with this. It's just a refresher, right? So, Brother Gadal, if you would, read the title and let's bring this out, article.
Systematic inequality, displacement, exclusion, and segregation. How America's housing system undermines wealth buildings and communities of color by AmericanProgress.org. Home ownership and high quality affordable rental housing are critical tools for wealth building and financial well-being in the United States. Knowing this, American lawmakers have long sought to secure land for, reduce barriers to, and expand the wealth building capacity of property ownership and affordable rental housing. But these efforts have almost exclusively benefited white households. Often, they have removed people of color from their homes, denied them access to wealth building opportunities, and relocate them to isolated communities.
That's right. So everybody's aware of this, right? Everybody's aware of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives being pushed out of their affluent and prospering neighborhoods and communities to make way for a highway, a bridge, a community center that they could have easily put somewhere else, but they want to dismantle what we got going on, right? Just can't leave us alone. Go ahead.
For centuries, structural racism in the U.S. housing system has contributed to stark and persistent racial disparities in wealth and financial well-being, and shrinks that if current trends continue, it could take more than 200 years for the average black family to accumulate the same amount of wealth as its white counterparts.
That's right. And that ain't never gonna happen, right? Because they won't allow it, right? If you start to gain traction on their position, they're gonna throw a monkey wrench in that, right? That's what you have to understand as an Israelite. You're not gonna win here in America, so your obligation is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments and have faith in Yahweh Shah, right? That's your savior. Your salvation is not gonna be the housing market, right? Or building generational wealth, because everything here is gonna be destroyed anyway, right? So we need to understand, all right? Let's read on.
In 1845, the term manifest destiny emerged to describe the commonly held belief that white settlement and expansion across North America was inevitable and even divinely ordained.
Right, and we can't really argue against that, right? Because it's part of the curses that was put on the Israelites for disobedience, right? All right, so we don't.
But long before then, this ideology provided the justification for ethnic cleansing and systematic displacement. In many ways, it continues to inform policy making to this day.
That's right. There ain't nothing changed. So yeah, it's hard for the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native man to come up in America, right? Because it's not meant to be, okay? The Lord didn't mean for it to be that way. So-called white man don't mean for it to be that way, okay? This is his kingdom, all right? But his kingdom is only for a short time, all right? Read on.
Although American public policies had intentionally displaced people of color for centuries prior, two of the most well-known examples are the Indian Removal Act and the Dog Act. President Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act into law in 1830, authorizing the federal government to forcibly relocate Native Americans in the Southeast in order to make room for white settlement.
That's right. Forcibly remove them, right? It wasn't an act of voting or let's, come together and sign some petitions. No, they put a gun to your back or burn your house down, okay? And they keeping that same energy today. See that?
For the next 2 decades, thousands of Native Americans died of hunger, disease, and exhaustion, and a forced march west of the Mississippi River.
And this is how you know also that the so-called Native Indians, right, the tribe of Gad and Reuben, they're Israelites, okay? Crystal clear. These same curses are on them that are on the so-called blacks and Latinos, all right?
While Native Americans have long been the primary target of government-sponsored land redistribution,
which that's a wicked term, land redistribution. No, it's called rape, rob, and pillage.
Other communities of color, especially black communities, have experienced and continue to experience displacement as well.
Right, so let's get that in Jeremiah 50, or 50 and 33.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
That's right. And that's to this very day, right? Don't they still build projects